I watch people for the last 40, 50 years in the gym or doing any other form of exercise, and they do the same thing at the same time, on the same day, in the same way. Inevitably, they get the same result, which is next to nothing. And by the way, they put the same amount of effort in, which is next to nothing. They don't change, they don't mix it up, they don't ad lib, they don't experiment in any shape or form. So here's the number one tip, bar none. There is nothing, absolutely nothing more important than recording. I can look back to when I was in my teens and late teens, and I can tell you what I did, how I did it, when I did it, to what degree I did it, and the results I got. My point is this: how can you know what you want to do or achieve if you don't know what you've done? So when you've done a set of bicep curls, for argument's sake, which I'd never do, you know what type of bicep curl you did. You did a hammer, a neutral grip, pronation. You did it on a pulley row machine. You did it with dumbbells. You did it with what weight, in what manner, for how many reps and how many sets. How do you know? How can you remember that? Because I've been doing this for 50 odd years and I can't remember what I did the previous week. Of course, that says a lot about me. Bar none, record. I can tell you what I've done, when I've done it, to what extent I've done it, how many reps, sets, what the result was for the last 55 years. So, typical example. I went in today and I did a cross-training session on the elliptical. Now, I wanted to do something very specific. I wanted to do anaerobic work because I was pushing. I didn't have a huge amount of energy, so I didn't want to go long. I wanted to go hard, short, hard intervals. So I'm still sweating now. So here's my recording of that. I put the elliptical machine that I worked out on today. I put what level of exertion I was doing, which was a 10. I did it for how many minutes, because I did various intervals. So I did for 7.5 minutes, I did 15 minutes, and I did 3.75 minutes. And I can tell you the level I did, how many minutes I did, what heart rate I got up to. I can tell you everything about that workout. So here's the good thing though. Because everybody's doing the same thing in the same way, I watch them week in, week out, not recording. And this is 99.9% of people. They don't know what they're doing and what they've done, because they just do the same thing in the same way the whole time. And that includes personal trainers, by the way. I've watched them. So, getting back to what we were saying, record everything. Record everything. The same applies to weights. Because the next time you go in for a weight, you're challenging yourself, or cardiovascular, you're challenging yourself every single workout. And if you're challenging yourself, it's fun, it's exciting, you have a goal. But when you're doing the same thing the whole time, I don't get it. What's the point? What is the point? So The next time you go in and you do weights, you know what you did previously. So you then say, right, okay, I'm going to do heavier weight. I'm going to do more reps or less reps. I'm going to do more sets or less sets. Reps. I'm going to do a different tempo, which is huge. And you don't see people mixing up the tempo with a 1 to 4 or 1 to 3, or they just don't do it. They do the same thing in the same way and get the same results, which is mediocre at best. At 67, I'm still progressing. I'm still getting better. I'm still getting stronger. I'm still getting fitter. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to record. I'm working out with my grandson tomorrow again. I introduced him to a workout last week. And I told him to bring a pad and a pen with him. Because you've got to start at the beginning. You've got to start from the get-go. Now, next, he's already excited about seeing what he can do that's going to improve. Every time I go into the gym, every time I want to do something better, whether it's cardiovascularly, whether it's 30 seconds, 15 seconds, whether it's weights, going up in weights, doing a better tempo, doing a better control, doing a smoother action, whether it's on the rowing machine, doing short bursts of intervals, anaerobic intervals, I did a rowing session the other day, and it was an endurance-based session. So I was on for an hour. In fact, no, sorry, it was 2 times 30-minute intervals at a steady state pace. But I improved on the previous time I did that workout. Instead of sitting there going through the motions. And I just can't emphasize this more than anything else. How do you know where you're going if you don't know where you've been? And that applies to literally everything in life. How do you know where you're going if you don't know where you've been? When I'm training my grandson tomorrow night, his goal is to put on a bit of muscle because he's a very slim chap. So I'll take him through it and we'll do what needs to be done, and he'll achieve what he needs to achieve by recording and improving on every single thing he does. I even do it in walking. If I'm challenging myself to a walk, I have various routes around and about. I either want to do it faster, more efficient, longer, and I can go back years and say, right, well, I did that then and achieved that then, and I want to achieve this now. You never see people recording, and they're always going to get the same results, which is invariably mediocre or less than mediocre. So that's the big lesson for today. And I cannot tell you how huge it is. It's massive. But I promise you this, if you get a notepad, if you get a pen and pencil, if you do a diarise in your phone, if you have some form of app you can use, I prefer the pen and pencil and pad myself, it will transform the way you work out, the results you get, and it will it will change the enjoyment factor, the fun that you have. Because when you're going in and doing the same bloody thing over and over and over again, particularly if you're a bodybuilder, because that is just mind-numbing stuff, rep after rep after rep, and it would just drive me nuts. I always train as an athlete as opposed to a bodybuilder. Not that there's anything wrong with bodybuilders, each to their own. So do that. And absolutely guarantee you it will change the way you do your workouts and what you achieve in your workouts and how much fun and challenges you have in your workout. It's a great way. It truly, truly is a great way to get more out of it. And that again leads to the byproduct. The byproduct of recording all of this is improving and achieving things that you wouldn't achieve otherwise. So that's number 2. Done. Bang. Bosh.